from the lighter side of pest control. This is Tales from the Crawl Space with your hosts, Jack and Nick and Brad.
Hey, welcome back. It's Jack, Tales from the Crawl Space, and halfway across the continent, I've got Brad.
Hey, Jack, what's up, man?
Ah, man, same shit, different day. We had a nice break. How was your Thanksgiving?
My Thanksgiving was fulfilling, to say the least.
Yeah.
Oh, my God, the food, Jack, the food.
Yeah, I spent an inordinate amount of time on the toilet for the next couple of days because I think I ate more in one day than I usually eat in 3 or 4. Including the deviled eggs especially. Oh my God, all the beautiful parts.
Yeah, I envy you because I had the opposite problem with that, and I believe one of my cousins decided they couldn't get gravy to go on the mashed potatoes, so he used liquid nails.
Oh man. That'll block you up.
Yeah, definitely blow your eardrums trying to get it out.
Little pressure backup coming out every other orifice.
That's right. So, but I guess it's to our advantage since, all that stuff is backed up over the course of the week. I can now spew it from my mouth in the form of tonight's podcast.
Oh, we got all kinds of shit for you on this one. I want to let y'all know first, if you didn't see it on the Pest Control Humor Depot, owned, overlorded, and ran by our own Brad Harvey.
Name sounds familiar.
Yeah, I put together a website, www.tftc.whatthefuck. It's actually not what the fuck, it's WTF, but it was perfect. So tftc.wtf is our new website. It has our biographies. You'll get to read the epic biography of Brad Harvey, which it's a worthwhile read in and of itself. So if you want to really get down to the brass tacks of who Brad Harvey is, you need to get on the website and read that. And there's something else you can do from the website. And Brad, I don't know if you knew this, is that if you pull up the website, even on mobile, the bottom right-hand corner is this little microphone. And if you click it, you can leave a voicemail from the website to the show. And I can download them as an MP3 and add it to the show. So if you got something to say, you want to get your voice on there, by all means, leave us a voicemail. And there's also a part where you could actually apply to be on the show as a guest, give us some information and everything. There's actually a little page you can click to fill out your info to get on the show. So that's cool. And the website's pretty awesome.
I'm speechless.
Yeah, see, I'm trying to work that shit, man.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. I had no idea it was there.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Well, that's not the only way you can reach out to us here at Tales from the Crawl Space. You can check out our Twitter at TFTC Podcast and look for us at Crawl Space Tales. And if you want to do things the old-fashioned way, we still have the Google Voice at 571-888-5283.
And we also have a TikTok channel, which I put a few videos up there. It's at TFTC 2.0. Is at TFTC 2.0 is our TikTok channel. And I've got a couple of videos where I make fun of Brad and Nick, and I think they're, very appropriate, especially the one with Brad, coming out after a bourbon and Coke-filled weekend binge. Looking like the big fat female carpenter bee crawling out of the hole that's just been dusted.
I'm still trying to figure out how you think I could actually afford a lifestyle like that, but oh, brother. Okay.
Well, if you powder up your meth, you might be able to do it. I mean, meth's cheap, isn't it?
Yeah. So it sounds like you got the bases all covered here. We've got the Google Voice. We've got the Twitter. We've got the TikTok. We have our own website. And, of course, this beautiful podcast. Can only fans be far behind?
That's between you and Nick. I'm not good for the action shots. I can't perform on demand like that. I mean, I can perform, but not on demand.
Mm-hmm.
Well, tonight's episode is called Let's Not and Say We Did. And the premise of this is if you've had jobs that, man, you just absolutely hated having to do, like you knew it was going to be the nastiest fucking thing you've ever come across, the kind of thing you had to hold in your vomit or scrub yourself with Mr. Clean magic erasers once you got home because it was that nasty. Or if it was a job that you were sent out to do that you knew you shouldn't be doing. Because I know everybody, we're pest control people. Our morality is low, if existent. But there are some things that we all know we sure as hell shouldn't be doing. And I'm going to start this off because I know Brad's got we got a ton of submissions from the Pest Control Humor Depot, and Brad got some that were sent to him directly. So he's going to be reading us our stories about that. But I got one I wanted to mention real quick that I actually came across last summer. When I got back down to Virginia, I applied to a few places, and one place brought me in, threw a bunch of money at me and told me they'd love to have me work for them. So I had to ride with one of their techs for a couple days, which was fucking monotonous, to say the least. But it was our time for the 17-year cicada brood to come out, the periodic cicadas. And they were selling a pre-emergent cicada service using the generic version of Premise, which is imidacloprid, which, as anybody in pest control should know, is not labeled for that. And on top of that, spraying away from the foundation of a house is no longer structural pest control. That's turf and ornamental. And this company, and nor did I, as a certified applicator, have a turf and ornamental license. And this guy says, "Oh yeah, this is what we do. We charge $150, and we'll spray the lawn down for with this stuff." I can't remember what's the generic Premise. What's that? What's that chemical? What's the trade name for the generic Premise? Can you remember, Brad?
For Premise, I thought it was imidacloprid.
Yeah, but that's the chemical name. It was like
that's a chemical
something.
name.
But it's like Forshaw or Univar's brand of it is what it was.
Oh. Yeah, and I've never used it.
No, it's good stuff for termite work, but you sure as hell ain't made for cicadas. But so the guy starts unrolling his hose, and I'm like, "Dude, you do realize this isn't going to do anything?" He goes, "Yeah, well, they don't know that." I'm like, "Well, I know it. So you can spray all you want. You best not put my name on that fucking paperwork. I'm going to go over here and sit on the curb while you do it. And once you're done, you're taking me back to the shop, because if this is how this company's going to do business and stick it up people's ass for $150 for a worthless treatment that's illegal, off-label, and not what you're licensed for, I want no parts of that." So I sat on the curb the entire time across the street watching him smoking a cigarette, because I wouldn't want to get even in the same property as him doing that shit. And we got back in the truck, and he was looking at me like something wrong with me. I'm like, "You need to take my ass back to the shop." And I was on the way back to the shop. This was a Hispanic gentleman, so conveniently he calls the shop and speaks in Spanish, so I can't understand what he's saying, and then goes, "The boss says he wants to talk to you." I'm like, "Well, the boss can fucking call me, because I'm getting in my goddamn car and get the fuck out of here, because y'all are full of shit." And that's it. I grabbed my lunch pail, got the hell out of the truck, got in my car, and the boss come walking out the front door. I just pulled out of the parking lot. I wanted nothing to do with them bastards. I don't give a shit. It was 2 days wasted, but that's a let's not and say we did. You want me to treat for cicadas with Premise? Yeah, no, not happening. So
good call. And that begs the question: why in the fuck are we treating for cicadas in the first place? Other than trying to get a buck. I mean, they really don't hurt anything, and they're. I mean, the periodical 17-year cicada is probably one of the most awesome phenomenons in invertebrate nature.
It's cool as hell. It is.
They sit down there in the ground for 17 fucking years, doing nothing, sucking sap, just chilling, and then they come out, and every damn one of them's, "Hey, like, my name's Buck, and I'm here to fuck." And then and it gets deafeningly loud. During the spring, they hit us in here in Indiana around Mayish. May. They come out, and it is probably one of the most awesomest things that I ever got. And sounds like Jack's pulling a train out there.
There's a train out in front of the house. Sorry about that.
No problem. Either that, or I figured that Thanksgiving dinner's coming back at you. But anyway, back to the cicadas. I mean, it's one of the most fascinating things to witness. In my opinion, I'm on Nextdoor in my local area, and everyone is just post after post of what can we do about the cicadas? Well, how about enjoy them, because they're not going to be around for another 17 years after this. And then the following spring came through. I went outside and I just said to myself, man, it's awful quiet out here.
Oh,
and found myself missing them. So let's see, the second season's down already. So we still got another 15 years left on the next one.
Well, I tell you, with my time in the business, I've been through two of them. And the first one I went through in Columbia, Maryland, was way worse than this past one. Mm-hmm. And it was so bad I could stand 2 feet from you and I'd have to scream for you to hear me. But in all reality, if you're treating anything for cicadas, if you're an arborist and have that type of license, mm-hmm. they use like neem oil and they treat where the branches meet the main part of the tree because the cicadas like to suck the sap out of the trees at that junction. Mm-hmm. So they'll do that treatment.
Yeah, but the cicadas, I can see you doing something to a young plant or whatnot, mm-hmm. but mature trees, old growth, things like that, it's part of their process. I mean, because they actually, when they do deposit their eggs up in the branch, up in the twigs and branches on the outer part of it, it kills it off. It's naturally pruning that tree.
Right.
That's how it happens before we came along. But again, it's just a personal preference because I'm just a completely bug nerd with no life. But it's a turn on for me every 17 years.
Oh, I mean, I love the spectacle of it myself. I do. I love the spectacle of seeing all those damn cicadas. I think that's the coolest thing ever. So I mean, mm-hmm. I enjoyed it. I really did. But that was my Let's Not and Say We Did. I mean, I've got a ton of other ones, but that's for another show. Speaking of for another show, we had some submissions that weren't quite in the realm of Let's Not and Say We Did, but they were great stories nonetheless. So if you send us something and we don't mention it on the show tonight, don't think we overlooked it because we haven't. We're just waiting for the right show to bring it up, and we will bring it up. We got one that showed up on a couple different pages that we subscribed to, including the Depot from a gentleman and Curtis, and it's definitely worth reading. It just doesn't quite fit into what we're talking about tonight, but don't think we forgot about you because we haven't.
And if you're listening, we can guarantee that we will air this. It's just not. It's a very intense story, but it's just not one for what we're talking about tonight.
Right. But don't think we've forgotten about you because we haven't. I promise you.
Yeah. Don't think our heart's not with you on this either.
Oh, that's for damn sure.
Okay. Well, I got a bunch of stories from when we put this out. Most of them seem to be from the New Jersey side of the gang. I have Christopher Moltisanti brought something to me. He said, I had a service manager meet me at a sensitive client, little dumpy hole in the wall pizzeria in Jersey. Starts filling up his B&G outside the back door, and I notice he's mixing up Termidor and Gentrol. Casually ask him what that's for, and he proceeds to tell me that they've been doing that shit for the last 2 years because they had a really bad roach problem when they first took it over, and that was the only thing that got rid of them. They did that monthly. They did that monthly for 2 years before I even got there. Okay?
Man.
Yeah. Wait, oh, God. Anytime I hear about somebody using Termidor inside, it just, oh, man. I just want to cringe. I got to punch the nearest throat.
Yeah, I cringe, but I can see the guy out there. I'm imagining some dude in like a dirty white beater and like Hagar slacks going, filling up spray, going, hey, yo, it's what we do.
And they got the gold chain and the checkered loafers and
the pinky ring.
Oh, the pinky ring. Always the pinky ring.
That's right. It's what we do. We just spray it over
that's
here.
What you do. You get these when you get your button.
I'm spraying over here now.
Okay, well, Christopher Moltisanti has gotten a lot of experience with the improper use of Termidor. He also said that he had another service manager ask him to pick up a hornet's nest, not too high up. Gets there and it's an apartment building, solid 40 foot up. Called him and asked him to bring me the 40-foot ladder and a spare bee suit so I could treat it. He showed up an hour later with the termite rig, full of Termidor. told me the branch manager told him to bring that because it's labeled for yellow jackets attached to a structure. And I said, not 40 fucking foot up, it ain't.
Hey, yo, what the fuck?
No. Bullshit. Okay.
40-foot ladder makes me think there's a place I was working in the recent past. I'm not going to say who it was. They sent a guy out with a 40-foot ladder and no help to get at this junction of these two apartment buildings. And the dude lost his grasp on the ladder and it kind of got away from him. And it hit a power line going to the building and the shock went down the ladder and blew his fucking toe off.
Oh, yikes.
Damn. Just had to throw that one in there.
Oh, good Lord. All right. Well, his girlfriend, Chrissy's girlfriend pipes up. Adrienne LaServa says, it wasn't me, but one of my employees' father worked for, we don't mention names here. Several years on, and somehow he told his techs to use XYZ for yard treatments. A few months later, hundreds of yards and trees were killed because he advised wrong chemicals.
Oh.
He was quietly asked to retire soon.
That's when you turn into a lawn service really quick.
Oh yeah, no kidding. But it's funny. Most of these stories are coming from the point of using the wrong shit, and I can't tell you how many times I go to the state chemist of Indiana. Their website, they have the cases, the enforcement actions and stuff like that. You see it all the time. Usually in the springtime we get a little bit of a break because they're too busy chasing around random manure piles out in the country that aren't properly diked and what have you.
Right.
But pretty soon that manure gets spread in the field and they start coming after us. So yeah, I get it. They're doing their job. So, but yeah, and and it basically turns us, some of these chemicals will just turn us into complete plant killers, and it's not a good thing. In fact, Johnny Sack reached out to me and said, okay, back in the late 80s when I started in pest control, Johnny Sack's obviously an old fuck. We used to spray the exterior of houses with something called ripcord. Ripcord was made by Shell back in the good old days. However, they ran out of stock, so they gave us Hallmark. Even back then, I read the label, and it was a herbicide. I told the boss, he said, nah, it's what the rep from Shell said to use. So away we went. 3 rigs doing 8 houses a day, 24 houses times 5-day weeks equals 120 houses in a week. We used this shit for 3 weeks. That's 360 yards in garden killed, rose beds destroyed, massive insurance claim.
Oh my God! I bet you that company went under shortly after.
Oh yeah, it certainly did. My goodness.
Can you imagine trying to go back and clean up your mess and have a bunch of techs out there with those little hand crank spreaders and bags of seed?
Oh yeah, exactly. Doing something that's not bringing any money into the company, and it's but you know what, dude is getting paid, so that's fine.
Yeah, pissing in the wind, but okay.
That's right. Yeah, he's out there doing the shit work, but nothing's getting kicked up to the big guy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's right. You got to get 10% to the big guy, right?
Yeah, that's right. 10% to the big guy. All right. I was kind of surprised when I heard this one. She has some problems, and Mama Bing herself, Carmela Soprano, got with me.
Oh,
she goes, I had a tech sell a preventive heat treatment for drywood termites. Huh?
What?
Listen, I'm an Eastern Sub guy. I have been for the past 30 years. Never wandered outside the Midwest. We don't do drywood termites, but holy shit, I know you don't do preventive heat treatments for drywood termites. What the fuck is that? No. I mean, get out of here. So, and let's see. Another one. She goes on. We subbed out all of our fumigations to a couple of different companies. One time, the tent crew didn't do a walkthrough to make sure everyone was gone. Homeowner was upstairs asleep. Tent crew had the tent up and was about to shoot the house until the neighbor yelled that someone was asleep in the house. Yeah, that homeowner was about to be asleep for a long fucking time.
Oh my God! I mean, first of all, what the hell were they taking to sleep through people all over your fucking roof and everything? That's my first question. But to kind of play off of that one, I know that the Eastern Pest Control Company, if you catch my drift, in New Jersey, lost 2 guys because once they started shooting, they were wondering if they left the pilot lights on the stove. So 2 guys put on respirators and went into the house after they started shooting Vicane. And the guys didn't make it past the foyer, and they died right there just inside the door, thinking that they'd go in there with aerosol respirators with a dry gas. And that just, let's not say we did.
Wow, absolutely. Good grief. Let's see. She got another one that said another company we used tinted the wrong house. Luckily, nobody was home.
God damn.
Oops.
All right, guys, take it down. Take it down.
Yeah. So, and Carmela sounds like she's worked for some real winners here. But it sounds like she's holding her own and knew what was right and what was wrong. She tells me I got in trouble multiple times for asking customers to leave their homes for 4 to 6 hours for bed bug treatments as well as Actisol treatments because it made it look like we were using what was actually unsafe and would cost the company the sale. Yeah. So, let's go ahead and just fire up that fucking Actisol when everybody is in there. And, this isn't just homes. She goes on. She goes, I was told on numerous occasions to Actisol dining areas of restaurants. And if the patrons were bothered, they could get up and move to another table.
What?
She goes, these were the instructions given to me by my boss.
What the fuck?
And, Jack, it gets nothing but better.
Oh, boy.
Oh, let's see. She was told to spray shockwave aerosol into knife blocks and toasters when customers weren't looking.
Toasters?
Yes. Why is garçon, why my toast seems a bit tangy?
What's that smell? Is that compound butter? What is that?
What's that? That's compound butter. Yes, we are using essence of chrysanthemum. And the butter infusion. And I was like, fuck, get the fuck out of here.
Jesus
all right.
Christ.
And she goes, no flow zones for us. Then with the flow zones. Power spraying 4 feet up and 4 feet and all eaves out on the exterior of every house. No exceptions.
Now, see, I want more context. I want to know what chemicals you were using. Because there's some that you can and some that you can't. I know with Talstar, it's 3 foot up, 3 foot out. Fenvastar, you can go to the eaves. Termidor is a foot up and a foot out and along trails. So I want to know, I need more context. So whoever said that story, is that Carmela?
Carmela Soprano. Mama Bing.
Carmela Soprano, chime in sometime and let us know what chemical you were using when you did that. I'm just curious.
Yeah, and then the next thing she told me did involve an actual chemical. It says Nuvon strips all over restaurants and kitchen areas, bar areas for fruit flies.
No.
Okay. Now it does work, but that just because it does work doesn't mean you get to do it.
Well, Nuvon is like, those were the half-assed stepchildren of Vapona strips.
Vapona strips, yeah, dichlorvos. Basically what they're supposed to be used for, that's not it.
No.
Nuvon has a really bedbug forward label. And they're actually pretty good for that when you're doing things like, putting things in sealed containers for, if you got bed bugs in your shoes and your bra and your, shit like that, put it in a tote, pop it in there, see you in a few days.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And she's like, label? What label? Everything was 1 to 2 ounces per gallon of chemical always, regardless of target pest and regardless of chemical being used.
Hey, man, Phantom Plus. Phantom
Plus. Yeah, good old Phantom Plus.
Dump an ounce of Termidor in there going with it.
Drywood termites and wall voids. Proper protocol are as follows. Termidor foam, Actisol with Sure Kill, Demon Max, and Gentrol, followed with Delta Dust.
What the fuck? You
I am made out of questions on this one.
Well, it makes me think of when you had a little chemistry set when you were a kid, and you did everything in your power to try to mix shit so it blows up.
Yeah,
and that's kind of where my brain went with all that shit in the wall. Holy fuck! I mean, you're putting repellent to non. I mean, you're putting demon with Termidor.
Mm-hmm.
It's. I mean, it's. What you one's canceling the other out.
Exactly. That's like sitting at the doctor's office smoking a cigarette while you're having chemo treatment.
Right. Well, yeah. Hey, got an ashtray. You got an ashtray.
Yeah. Speaking of the chemistry sets, my brother, back when we were kids, he got his shit hooks on a chemistry set, mixed every fucking thing together, and it had this purple shit. Threw it out the window of our upstairs bedroom onto our next door neighbor's aluminum siding. And my dad had to pay for that.
Would it strip all the paint off the side?
No, it left whatever it was. Just turned the whole, turned wherever it landed purple and purple forever too. So yeah, it was kind of interesting. She comes out, she sees it, she's like, "What the fuck, you little bastards!" And dad denied, mom and dad denied. Then my brother fessed up to it apparently. So yeah.
Well, that's like. That's like
mom and dad had to fix that, and Daryl got his ass kicked.
Oh yeah, that's like the harbinger of the future of psychic CS and wasp freeze, staining everything it touches.
Yeah. Oh, brother. But yeah, Carmela, thank you very much for letting us know about that stuff. It sounds like an incredible shitstorm. You apparently survived it, and send T our regards.
Oh yeah. Thank you.
So, and right after I got off of that, Richie April got a hold of me. He said I had to fog a sub basement in a university back in the early days, 2002 or so. Got set up.
That's cute.
Yeah, right. Got set up and ran for about 15 minutes, and my contact pounded on the door and told me to stop because American roaches were being flushed out into the upper floors.
Oh.
They had me doing this during the day, he adds.
Oh, my God. See, I had to do something like that. I had a route in Georgetown, D.C., and a lot of those old row buildings that, like, conjoined buildings like townhomes that were actually businesses. Like I did a barbecue joint right there on the main drag, and I had to get there at 4:00 in the morning and get that big power duster out. And they had like the dirt floor hand hewn cellars, and they were full of like rats and roaches and shit. Right. So I'd have to I'd do my treatment on the first floor and in the kitchen and behind all the equipment and everything because it was early in the morning. Then I get down there in the cellar and blast them with the power duster. And then I go upstairs and have to vacuum up everything that came up. But man, yeah, during the day, I can only imagine sitting there and just having a glut of them coming out from under the baseboards.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes for an interesting lunch.
Yeah. I've had a couple of instances during a fog. And it was actually a very large place, a facility. I was doing some fogging with the Golden Eagle, which I haven't used a Golden Eagle in years, and I miss it because it is just the manliest, most masculine piece of pest control out there. A nice pulse jet thermo fogger. Oh man, it was great. I'd have a full on using it every time. It's like you just turn that thing on and it's like, and it's just throwing death out everywhere.
Well, you're giving me performance issues with my little tiny B&G pot fogger.
Oh, I've got one of those. It's just like it sounds like you're vacuuming a floor. This fucker was. Oh man, it was great. But anyway, apparently there was a vent that we forgot to seal up, and it wafted into a public area. Oh. And anybody that has ever used a pulse jet thermofogger understands particle size. That stuff got into everything. And needless to say, in just a few short minutes, that area that this stuff wafted into was suddenly available for me to treat.
Oh, of course, because everybody fucking vacated.
Everybody fucking vacated. Exactly. We didn't get into any trouble with that because this was an opening that was not documented on their map on the diagram of the building. So, which is one that they provided us, and we had to move some shit, and there it was. So we got it taken care of. They didn't get too upset about it because it's okay. It's our bad. It's like, damn right, it's your bad.
Yeah, I'm not taking blame for that shit.
Right.
Hey, yo, we do it like this all the fucking time,
Yeah. Okay. Oh, Uncle Junior. Uncle Junior says, hey. He goes, and I met up with him. I said, hey, you got a story for me, Uncle Junior? He goes, you mean like the time my service manager had me zip tie a Liquitox station to a rafter in the back of a house of a farm supply store?
What?
And I was like, yeah, that's the kind of story, Uncle June. He goes, not only was it improper application, but I had to monkey my big ass up some steel shelves to make it happen. Not a good look when my business card says branch safety advocate.
OSHA has entered the game.
Exactly. And Jesus has left the chat. Actually, the best one I ever had involved pigeon work. I had this old drunk guy who was like an older version of Charlie Brown. Everything always went wrong for him. So he and I are training with one of the owners of the company, and he goes to remove the pigeon from inside the cage, and the owner says, just snap his neck and put him inside the bucket. So this guy grabs the bird and goes to snap his neck, but he does it too hard and the head comes off and blood is just shooting everywhere. Gets all over the guy and the owner of the company.
Shit. I would have paid.
And the three of us have to climb down the ladder and walk out of this PetSmart like we just conducted a satanic ritual on the rooftop.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh shit, God, I love stuff like that. I was doing a bird removal job, a nest removal job at a logistics company, a logistics operation. And I got up on the ladder and the nests were horrific because there was a lot of, those plastic strips that they use to, when they palletize stuff, those things, they kind of end and then you got to turn them upside down and grab the little unattached piece to pull them and they snap off.
Yeah.
There's a fucking name for those, but I don't know it right now. But the nests were made out of that shit. So shit. I'm like trying to get all this stuff out. No. I've got scissors. I've got shears up there. And so I'm going at it. And I've got a guy because the way this was, I needed to be on an extension ladder that was not attached to the upper rafters. So I had me a spotter down there. The spotter was the guy that sold it. So I'm up there. I'm trying to work all this shit out. I was getting frustrated. I jammed it in there and snapped. And I apparently just scissored the head right off a fucking bird. And he was like, whoa. I was like, what's going on? I thought something was going up with the ladder. So it's like, I'm starting to get ready to shit on him. And he's like, you just cut the head off a bird, man. I looked down, and he's like, yeah, it just fell down on the ground right in front of me, man.
Oh, nasty.
God.
I got to tell you, those bird jobs, I ended up having to do a bird nest removal at a produce warehouse in Jessup, Maryland. And the reason we ended up doing it, and when I went there to estimate the job, the guy I talked to had these red marks from his hand all the way up to his elbows. Because apparently he was out there in his short sleeve shirt with no gloves trying to pull these nests down off of the loading dock. And the bird mites just ate him up.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah. I showed up with my Tyvek suit with my gloves duct taped to the sleeves of the suit and everything. And, the full face respirator because I wasn't getting histoplasmosis.
Right.
And I got it all down, no problem. But this guy's, from the tip of his fingers up past his elbows was like, he got the shit bit out of him.
Oh, man. Yeah. You know what? Jack, I fucking hate bird work. I run into the most gnarliest shit when I do bird work. I could go into almost anything and not get grossed out. except for bird work. And
Yeah.
you have those ones where you do a net job and it's on a building that, maybe it's not taking it really well because, there's so many gaps and whatnot that you have to get around that you don't get them all. And birds have that, secret entrance to the bat cave and, and a lot of these jobs, and you can't fucking figure it out. They're coming in, they end up coming in from the roof and coming into this void here and under the nets. Well, then they'll get in there and they'll nest, and then their babies will come out, and then, their babies will follow the nest and they'll get tangled in the net, and then they die. And then you got to call, you got a baby bird dead in here, you need to come and get it. I mean, you get up there, you're dealing with dead baby birds. You're dealing with, birds that look like they still got their yolk sacs hanging out of their bellies. And it's just complete, or the ones where you got no choice. You got to cut that net and get that damn bird out of there, and you pick it up and it's just nothing but a sack of maggots. And it's bird work is hideous.
It is.
Damage control on bird work is hideous.
Well, I got to tell you, the only nasty, creepy feeling I got doing a bird job was when the Beltway sniper was going around killing people. And my boss bought a case of metal slinkies. And instead of using bird point or hot foot, I was on top of this fucking building because the awnings that were supposed to have canvas on them didn't. They just had the metal frames, and birds were landing and shitting all over the balconies. So I was up there with a commercial grade Velcro tape and slinkies on top of a building, about a 10-story building, and I'm sitting there the whole time thinking someone's going to fucking shoot me. And you're trying to duck down, stretch out the slinky, get it, and then hide for a little bit, and then get up again and try to get another one, and then hide for a little bit because that dude was killing people all over the place. And I thought I was going to get shot.
No, sure. Where I live, that's always a legitimate concern. We're second only to Chicago in the number of gun-related homicides here, and it's always fun. When you get one of those, and that we always go in the daytime. So, but your case with that sniper was anytime, it could happen anytime. That guy gave zero fucks of when he was gonna kill somebody.
No, he just.
But usually, over here it's more or less, you're in the wrong place at the wrong time, and so it's like one of those things where the people that are shooting each other know each other,
right?
And then when you get the crazy lunatics, you don't know who the hell you are, and he doesn't care. So you're the target of the day, or you're just in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah, that's about it. And I'm living in Baltimore long enough, I know that song word for word. So for sure.
Yep.
We got any other good ones?
I was looking through here, and I think it's time for me to start talking about some of my situations.
Oh yeah,
I have found myself running into.
I got to make sure to let everybody know that Nick is MIA today. He apparently has a social gathering that he's attending today, so he sends his love to you, Brad. Just so you know.
Yes, I'm sure it does. Yeah. Is there anything sadder than unrequited love?
Yeah. Well, Nick might be cheating. I mean, he might be cheating on you. So.
Yeah. Well, we let him know we expect a full blow by the next episode of how things went down.
Yeah, I want to hear all about the stank finger.
The stank finger. Hey, yeah. Okay. Okay. Let's do and say we don't. Okay. My first company that I worked for went from spraying, hosing everything down till it drips and glows to we're doing IPM now. Why are you even taking that B&G in there? You need to do this, IPM, blah, 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 blah. Well, I decided, you know what? I'm going to get on board with this shit. So let's go. And so I get to a customer's house. I've got my flashlight. I've got my pen. I've got my monitors. I've got my bulb duster. Yes, I bulb duster. And I've got a bandolero across my chest full of baits and other ointments, unguents, and tinctures to do the IPM. I get in there. Where is your tank? Where is my tank? Well, this is what we're going to do for you today. I'm going to start off with a full inspection. We're going to look for conducive conditions. Where is your tank? You are not going to spray the baseboards?
Oh my God.
No, this is going to be just as effective for you, and it's going to be a lot more than what. You are not going to do my house today, sir. Good day. I get a call. I get a call from my manager. Okay, Mrs. So-and-so just called. Said, you're not going to spray our baseboards. I said, you don't want us to spray our baseboards anymore. I said, so I'm trying to follow protocol and not doing the baseboard. Are you getting an attitude with me, Brad? No, I'm just telling you exactly what you told me. Oh, you're getting an attitude with me, Brad. And he goes, if she wants her baseboards done, you spray her fucking baseboards.
Oh my God.
It was that day that I got a real sour tone. I got a real sour taste in my mouth about both IPM and the company that I worked for. So,
I got to when the fad of IPM came out, and it's not a fad. I mean, it's effective, but it's integrated along with the standard type of service you do. You integrate these new ideas of environmental inspection, trying to looking at the environment, the food source, the structure, and exclusion. It's integrated. It's not the only fucking thing you do, but some companies seem to think it was, and it was monitors and glue boards, monitors and glue boards, monitors and glue boards, pheromone traps, monitors and glue boards, and that was it.
Yeah,
that's not pest control.
Yeah, you know what they want to see, Jack?
What?
They want to see the tank. That's what they want to see.
Are you going to be spraying the medicine today?
Yes, the medicine. Indeed.
Are you going to spray the medicine today?
Mm-hmm. Yes, the last time we had too many rachas.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
so
ratones.
and everything's anything with wings is a fucking mosquito. You go in their house. There's like 5 or 6 starlings flying around. Yeah, we got mosquitoes.
Hey, there's some big mosquitoes, man.
There's some big mosquitoes. So, yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I embrace integrated pest management, but I embrace it for what it was actually supposed to be for, and not for us to, not, to save chemicals, save the company money. It's, I inspect, I document, I treat when necessary.
Right.
And I'm sorry, a lot of you guys out there that think you know everything in the fucking world. Prevention is a part of it.
Oh, of course. Most definitely.
Yeah. So, I'm not going to treat anything unless you got a problem. No. Maybe they got a problem because you haven't been treating.
Right.
If you use it according to the label and you use it in a safe and professional manner, no problem.
Now, I tell you, I may not completely be on board with baseboard jockeying. I'm not going to go through, the 5 upstairs bedrooms and, behind the kids' dresser and shit. I'm going to get the windowsills for sure. I'm getting every possible entry point, and maybe 3 foot to either side type of thing. And some houses you do have to baseboard jockey. Some houses are just fucking disgusting and you need to.
Right.
But some, it's, yeah, I mean, I'm not fully on board with this. It's needed in some instances, and some instances it's not. But that's all the point of inspection.
Well, that's the whole baseboard thing. It's not. I mean, this isn't a cookie cutter business. I mean, this isn't. Everything has its own situations. Now, that said, there are some situations that are that duplicate themselves in almost every residential place, and that's what you want to look at. Right. If that room has an outside wall and a window that goes to the outside, it needs to be checked out. Probably needs a little prevention too. Something, up around the windows. Spiders get in, bees, wasps, flies, gnats, all kinds of shit get in. I mean, I have seen ants crawl up 4, 5, 6 stories to get into a window. Yeah, let's, and half the battle is keeping them out. I mean, you got those people that don't want to see a damn thing, not even on the outside of their house, but most of them, it's like, as long as they're not getting in, fuck them, So,
that's Donnie and Marie Pest Control used to do that. The sales kids for Donnie and Marie Pest Control would be like, "Oh, once we're done with your initial service, you're not going to see anything."
mm-hmm.
Oh man! And I tell you, it got to the point I was telling them little sales bastards that they were going to start doing their own. They were going to do their own starts.
Was that on their cards, Jack?
Was that
their name, and then underneath the sales bastard?
Yeah, that's what it is. It's sales bastard. And I told him, I said, you're going to keep lying to the customers because you cannot hermetically seal a house. And so, if I were to slam the doors and your ears hurt across the house, maybe you have a hermetically sealed house, but no, it's not going to happen. So if you're going to make that promise, it's going to be you that does the start and you that does the callback when they call in pissed off that they're still seeing stuff 12 hours after the initial treatment. So, and you're going to go back for the callback because I'm not sending my techs out there to clean up the shit that you've spread all over the fucking place.
That's right. Absolutely. And then, and that's when you got to be good with your sales guys. Your sales bastards. I'm sorry.
Uh-huh.
I didn't, say the title right. But yeah, your sales bastards can be your worst enemy or they can be your best friend. If you're in a jam, and if you got the right sales guy, he'll help you get out of it. And I've got the guy that works, the sales guy at my office is, I would say, probably one of the more awesome ones that I've ever worked with because he has absolutely no problems with grabbing a tube of bait, grabbing a sprayer, and getting out there and helping us out. Especially when things are falling apart. We get it. We got to get the services, the initials done and whatnot. If he gets a big burst of sales come in and they just can't make it onto the schedule, he's got no problem. He's got his sprayer. He's got everything in his truck or in his car. And, he gets out there and he gets it started. It helps us because it kind of takes some of the pressure off of us. It helps him immensely because he don't get paid. He wants to get paid on that the following month when he gets his commission check. So, it's win-win. So, my hat's off to my sales guy.
Oh, no, sure. And like I said, my sales bastard designation was for my experience with all the Donnie and Marie Pest Control, two of which I was a branch manager for.
Mm-hmm.
And the way they train those sales bastards is they're all coming off of mission and they're at BYU or whatever, and they give them this week-long crash course. This is an insect. This is a house. This is a homeowner. This is how you don't take no for an answer. This is a sprayer, and this is your sales sheet. And we'll pay you a fuck ton of money if you make the sale. So tell him anything you want to get him to sign the contract. And if we can get the start done within the 3-day right to cancel, we have a higher percentage of people who take the service.
Well, those Donnie and Marie companies pop their cherries with the big green tea. I was with them I was there for 17 years and I saw it firsthand. I probably saw it before you did. And you're absolutely right, man. That is exactly how they sell.
And these kids have no pest control experience whatsoever. And when I say kids, I mean it. They're kids. They drop a van load of them off in a neighborhood with a stick of chalk and a bunch of contracts. And they'll go to your door. If no one answers, they go down and mark something on the curb to come back later. If you didn't buy, they'll put another different type of mark on the curb. And if you did, they'll put a check mark on the curb in front of your house so they know not to go back to the house right now.
Yeah, exactly.
But then what they'll do is they'll go next door and go, oh, hey, Mrs. Robinson next door has this problem. And since we're going to treat her house for this problem, they're going to come to your house. And that was the sales tactic. And it made me sick to my stomach. So when the Donnie and Marie overlords would leave to go to another office or leave to go back to Planet Kolob or whatever it was, I'd sit all the sales kids down and say, look, here's how we're doing it, and here's how you're going to sell it. And that's when I told them they'd be doing their own starts if they kept up with their bullshit.
There you go. Oh, easy. I got nothing to add on that, man. Absolutely, that's spot on. It was incredible. Looking back on it, I try not to very often because it gives me flashbacks. But
yes, tell me about it. Oh my God,
I got it pretty good right now. So,
No, hey,
with the guy I got, you could sell more. If there was anything that I could change about the sales guy that works in my office, is that he would be more on board with my nasty, disgusting sense of humor. He doesn't get it. He's like, I'll start in on something just really base and fecal and nasty and gross, and he'll just be like, stop. I'm just like, come on, man, get with it. The good thing is I've got a guy that works my administrator has the same nasty ass sense of humor as me, so we get to bounce off of each other.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, so he and my sales guy's just sitting there at his desk, just kind of like.
Well, I got to tell you, when I was with the Big Green Tea and I was a service manager, which is probably the worst fucking place I ever went at Big Green Tea. Mm-hmm. Our sales manager was hired from Verizon. So obviously he had a wealth of pest control knowledge working.
Oh yeah, Verizon. Absolutely. Yep.
So he was telling people with Eastern Subterraneans, and I can't wait for your organic response to this. You need to tell these homeowners that when they bring their firewood in from outside, that they're going to bring termites in and they're going to infest their house from the inside out.
Wow. Eastern subs do that, huh?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I have been through Truman's and Malice, I don't know how many times. I don't think I've ever seen that.
No. Yeah. And I talked to Dr. Kathy at the NPMA, and one of the writers, one of the authors of the NPMA Field Guide was the entomologist for one of the companies I work for. And I even asked him, and he looked at me and goes, "What? What did you say to me?" But when I heard that, my tech came in and told me that, because the person was all worried about termites now. And the tech came in and told me. I went right to this fucking sales manager's office. He was on the phone. I walked in, slammed the door. He was on the phone. I said, "Man, what the fuck is wrong with you?"
Oh, man.
He's like, what?
Yeah. Entomologists and people that study entomology and that school in college and whatnot, that should be part of the syllabus. It's like how to deal with people who don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
Oh, I'm sorry. If you're going to be a sales manager for a pest control company, it should be mandatory that you get your ACE. You need to get your associates in entomology to know what the hell you're talking about, to be able to train your salespeople to know what the hell they're talking about, and to sell it properly.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Because the thing is, that is probably the root of the whole. The subject of this podcast is, let's don't say we did, the sales guys are out there, the ones making the promises, and it's up to the service department to keep those promises. So the best way to keep from any of this from happening is to make a promise that we can keep, make it legal, make it, moral, make it, non-fattening, non-cancerous, do the right thing.
Yeah. Make it honest. Make it honest. If you set the expectation at the very beginning with the homeowner or the business owner, here's what's going on, here's what we're going to do, and here's the amount of time that we think it's going to take to fully control the problem. And here's what you're going to need to do to help us with that, because IPM doesn't mean we're replacing entire fucking cinder blocks in the side of a building.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to fix this, and fix this. We're going to seal up these holes, stuff it, some of that, expanding foam, things like that. We can do this. We can screen over these vents. We can put bird netting or whatever up. We can do all this, but you're going to need to do your part too. I mean, proper pest control, and especially IPM, is a two-way street with your customer.
That's absolutely right, Jack. And it's the most successful salesperson is the person that can actually go to bed at night and saying, "I did this right." I know a salesman like that. He's near and dear to me, and he's made a really good living, and he's been selling for over 10 years. One of the things I think that led to his success is the fact that he's got a good moral standing, or he's got a good moral foundation. And he is he came from the service field. So so when he talks, he's talking his walk. and he's made a good living in his career. So love you, cousin Eddie.
Well, there's a few companies that I work for that the salesmen did their starts, and that was protocol for that company, and I liked that because they're not going to overpromise when they're responsible to go back for the callbacks if they did the job half-assed or overpromised. So I kind of like that, and I think salesmen need to ride with a technician for at least a week, if not longer, before they even sell one single thing, so they understand how, because a customer is going to act completely different when they're in a buying frame of mind as opposed to a service frame of mind.
And it needs the one that they need to go out with is that seasoned technician that doesn't take any shit from anybody.
Agreed. Completely agreed. You need to get the old school guy out there who's going to put them through their paces so they have a little more fucking respect for what the techs have to do when we get out there.
Absolutely. And in this, here in our state, you have to have that next level category. In Indiana, it's 7A. Before you can even consider to train someone and to ride along and whatnot. So I think that's a great idea. And it's also gotten, in my experience, it's gotten our new technicians off on the right foot when you send them out with somebody that's been state certified, knows their shit, and whatnot. You don't just put an ass in a truck with just anybody. You want to set these guys up for success, and and that's with somebody that knows what they're talking about, knows how to deal with a customer, knows how to deal with if there's an issue with a sale, and it's not afraid to speak up about it and do what's right.
No, and I tell you, when I was a branch manager, I would take techs out for their first week myself, and the first couple of days, all they did was shadow me. They didn't touch anything. They just watched. They watched how I interacted. They watched how I did the paperwork. They watched how I inspected and how I treated. After like the second day, I'd start letting them do a few things until by the end of the week, I was shadowing them. And then I'd send them out with it for another week. I'd send them out with another tech just to show the full route and the hustle and everything. And generally ended up with good techs that way.
That's how to do it. I did that as well until I got blessed with a rock star. And when I've got a technician that is probably one of the best technicians I've ever seen in my entire career, and he does all my training for me. So I have my rock star that is creating an army of rock stars for us. You wish you can clone people like that. Oh, exactly. Yeah. I mean, I'd like to take a sample of his hair, but he doesn't have much to spare.
No, I tell you, texts like that come around once a millennia, really. And if you're lucky enough to have one, you kind of, when they come in with a concern, I mean, obviously you should be sitting down listening to everybody. But when your old school tech that's been through the trenches comes in and goes, look, man, we got to talk about this. You pay special attention, because if you lose that guy, you're going to lose customer base, because it's texts like that. The customers are like, yeah, don't send anybody else to my house except for him.
Exactly. That's a part of it is, the let's don't and say we did. If you go out there and not what not to do, it makes it pretty easy to say, let's don't and say we did.
Right. Yeah. Here's the PSA. The label's the law. No matter what, I don't care what your branch manager, your service manager, the sales manager, anybody says, the label's the law. If you go out to a job and you know it's something you should not be doing, if you were to not do it and the company was to penalize you because of it, one simple call to your state Department of Agriculture will clear that up very quickly. And, if you want to think about it from a legal standpoint, if the company gives you a hard time for doing what's right, you've got a lawsuit just waiting to happen. But it's, what's right. You read the label, you know how you're supposed to do it that way. No one can legally give you grief for doing your job properly and with proper morals.
Yeah, there's an old proverb that says, it's not, I think it's an Asian proverb, if I'm not mistaken. It's like, if you're going to do this with a brain.
Yeah, Yeah. There's also man who goes to bed with itchy butt wakes up with smelly finger.
That's right.
And a man with hole in pocket feels cocky all day.
Those are words to live by.
Yes.
And that's a great takeaway.
It is. But look, we're right at an hour, man. I think we covered a lot of ground, and I want to thank everybody who submitted stories. We didn't get them all, and we have them, and we will get to them, just like we said earlier. But love those stories. And Carmela, you're one of my personal heroes now.
Absolutely. If it wasn't for the Jersey side piping up today, we wouldn't have had a show. So
hey, you know the motherfuckers, the mooks, they know what they're talking about now.
Mille grazie.
Well, Brad, it was an awesome show, and I tell you again, don't forget to check out our website, tftc.wtf, at Crosspost Tales on Twitter, TFTC Podcast on Instagram, and TFTC 2.0 on TikTok. But first of all, I don't want to forget this. Do you have your list of the Mod Squad? And we're going to talk about our potential shows coming up, because you had a really good idea yesterday.
The Mod Squad. God love you guys. Okay, Dan Bird, thank you very much. Becca Doucet, thank you very much. Paula Benedict, Candace Renee, ditto.
Hey, baby.
Daryl Harvey, Merry Christmas, the shitter's full. Josh Talbert, we'll see you next week.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Michael Lorney, good day, mate. My Kiwi buddy down in New Zealand, days enough. Cheers.
That's right.
Yeah. And last but not least, Captain Chicago, Kevin Wilhite.
Captain
Keep
Chicago.
It real, man. Keep it real.
Is he like the distant cousin of Dr. Detroit?
Yeah, I believe he is. No, I think he was actually Dr. Chicago, but he went into the military.
Oh,
but now he's Captain Chicago.
Now,
okay, if there's anyone I forgot, blame it on the Maker's 46 that I've been drinking tonight.
Hell yeah. Speaking of which, our previous idea that didn't record properly, and this is not your fucking awesome idea. I want to get to real quick. I want a show of hands or a show of posts about who would enjoy the inebriated termite episode, and it's not the termites that will be inebriated; it will be me and Brad. We're going to do a termite show all about termites and our experiences drunk, and I think that would be hilarious. So I want a show of hands or posts and some feedback on that.
It ought to be a good podcast, Jack, because this is something that I've been training for most of my life.
Oh, you and me both. 16-ounce curls daily.
Yeah,
so.
and another, we've been thinking about it. The podcast Tales from the Crawl Space Resurrected has exceeded our wildest dreams. We really want to appreciate you. We really want to show our appreciation to you listeners and for all that you do. So I think in order to honor you folks, you're going to get to very soon listen to us have a pizza party.
Yay! Pizza party!
Yeah. Pizza party, yes. We have exceeded goals. We have broken records in profits. So have a slice of Little Caesars.
So in lieu of a raise, here's a piece of $5 pizza. We really hope you would. That's how much we appreciate you.
Not just pizza, motherfuckers. Pizza.
But I think you said you're going to have a couple of the Mod Squad coming by and have them on site with you for one of the shows.
If we can work the mechanics and logistics out on this, Jack, you can count on it.
Awesome. I tell you what we can do is with the way Iris, our web app works, is I can send them each, because I'm sure you're working with headphones, aren't you, Brad?
I am.
Okay. And so they wouldn't be able to hear what I'm saying is if they bring their headphones with their phone, they can actually get on Iris mobile with their headpieces and be in the room with you, hear the entire conversation, and participate, which I think would be awesome. And you got to get them go to the website and fill out the guest thing so everybody gets a little blurb bio about them. And like I said, everybody, speaking of bios, go to tftc.wtf and read the epic bio that is the story of Mr. Brad Harvey.
Jesus, it's just a life, Jack. Come on.
It's touch yourself worthy. It really is, and I know that's probably why Nick hasn't appeared on the show, because I don't think his right arm is able to be lifted from his side to actually touch the mouse to get the computer going. Because I think he's been touching himself entirely too much after reading your bio.
Nick, I know you're out there, Nick. You are one more episode away from us setting off an Amber Alert. If you can hear me out there, Nick, call us and let us know you're okay. Use our Google Voice. 571-888-5283.
All right, guys, that does it for us for Tales from the Crawl Space this week. We will be back next week. And Brad, you got an idea for next week's episode?
The idea for next week's episode is hopefully that pizza party.
Okay, good. And we're going to do a little Christmas show when it gets close to Christmas. And I'm gonna retell the beach motherfucker story like I'm telling you the night before Christmas.
Yes, Christmas is the most important holiday of the year, next to Critter McCool Day, which was what, November 15th or some shit?
I thought it was like February 29th or something.
Oh no, that's St. Douchebag's Day.
Fucking Critter. Well, that's why I was saying that, but okay.
Well, I can see where you got it mistaken. So, all right. Well, on behalf of Jack, myself, and the MIA Nick, bug off.
See you guys. Bye.
Thanks for listening to Tales from the Crawl Space podcast. You can find us on just about every single podcast outlet there is online. So be sure to subscribe, and we'll have a new episode next week. Don't forget, you can find us on Instagram at TFTC Podcast, on Twitter at Crawl Space Tales, and you can also find us on Facebook at the Pest Control Humor Depot. See you next week.